I don't know if you've noticed, but the world is becoming a little obsessed with AI, artificial intelligence. I saw an advert last week selling a vacuum cleaner telling me that it was developed using AI technology, and if that's not going to be the end of the world, I don't know what is. And studios are desperately scrambling to get the next big TV show on their screens that will have AI at its core. And one of them is a show you know very well. Welcome to SciTrek, your sci-fi TV and movie channel. So, a couple of months ago, I told you that NBC was thinking about bringing back some of its more classic TV shows, that those shows were going to exist within universe and have crossovers, that these shows were going to appear on the NBC network, and it was going to be very much like a Marvel style project where they would have the TV series running alongside each other, say 10 episodes, and then you'd have a couple of months, and then be the next series would come back. So each show would have like one season a year. And then there'd be lots of crossovers, and then they'd maybe build up towards a TV movie. And all of this was going to go on Peacock. What shows? Well, Knight Rider, The A-Team, Airwolf, and The $6 billion Man, with a B, because $6 million isn't enough money anymore. Now, I was told you about that a few months ago because this was one of those ideas that was being bounced around by executives over at NBC. Initially, it seemed like one of those things that it was just because a bunch of executives really didn't have much to do. So they were sort of sat around thinking about what would they do once they were allowed to get back to work. And somebody came up with this idea, pitched it to upper executives at NBC, and they were asked to start running with it. Now, my sources have told me that the conversations have developed somewhat, even just over the last couple of months. And somebody now has said that should be an AI show. We should make that about AI. Now, what do we think about that? Get into the comments now before I keep talking, but I know what my initial reaction was. My initial reaction was, oh, for God's sake. But then I actually thought about it. Now, first of all, I have to tell you about the A-Team. NBC don't actually own the rights to the A-Team anymore. I think it's Disney that do. But anyway, they don't own the rights. Now, there were some exploratory conversations to see if they could get the A-Team within this new universe, because those are the four shows, really, that when people think about the 80s, that's what they tend to think about. They tend to, it's A-Team, Airwolf, Knight Rider, The $6 billion Man, and maybe like Street Hawk. So they wanted those four shows to exist within this universe together. However, the thinking has changed a little bit, and it seems to be at the moment that they would still be very interested in the A-Team being a part of this, but they're not too worried if they're not. Now, I'm speculating a little bit here because I don't know for certain, but I'm thinking if they are going to go this route of an AI space TV show, that the core of whatever the main overarching story is going to be some sort of artificial intelligence, then I could see where the $6 billion Man, maybe Airwolf, and definitely Knight Rider, remembering Kit is actually AI. That's what Kit is, fit together. The technology, I could imagine them being able to write storylines in really easily. I don't quite see how the A-Team fit into that. So that would be my suggestion, that may be what they're thinking. Look, it's going to be expensive to get the A-Team, and actually, does it fit in what we're thinking of doing anyway? So maybe they bring in Street Hawk instead. I'd be okay with that. The actual pilot for Street Hawk is on YouTube. You can watch it for free. Go and have a look. It's actually much better than I remember. I watched it when I did my back in a couple of months ago and I couldn't get out of bed for 3 days. It was really good. We are going to be seeing a lot of TV shows and movies, etc., with AI in their core. We're already seeing it, let's be honest. Like the most recent Mission Impossible, and it gets brought up in loads of TV shows and things. We're going to see it even more because it really is in the center of people's consciousness at the moment. I've actually listened to Sam Esmail recently talking about Battlestar Galactica, and he was even talking about how AI is in the cultural soup at the moment. And then that was going to be far more the core of his new Battlestar Galactica TV show. So everybody seems to be thinking along the same lines. Even though AI and artificial intelligence has really been in our science fiction for pretty much ever, it's actually starting to get to a point where it's becoming a reality, where it's actually starting to be seen by sort of normies in their normal day-to-day life. AI is everywhere, so it is going to pique the interest of not just the hardcore sci-fi fans, but the wider community, or at least that's the thinking. If you're enjoying the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so you miss none of our new videos, and most importantly, leave a comment. It's a community after all. We want to know what you think too. So is this project actually developing? Is it actually moving down the road? Is this actually going from an idea to a plan? Well, my sources said, look, don't get ahead of yourself. This is very much at the stage of executives and a couple of creative people over at NBC talking about whether they think this is a good idea or not. And if they do it, how do they do it? The next stage would be to ask for production companies potentially to come in and pitch ideas for it. So basically, the studio has to decide what they want to do or what they're thinking they'd like to do. They then ask companies to look, hey, we're thinking about doing this. If you've got any ideas, pitch those ideas to us. And then they would maybe go away and develop something for NBC. So we're really only at sort of like part one of this story. It may take a little while for this to actually move forwards. But the interesting thing is here that they're starting to really build up a picture of what they think they would like. They want a TV show with AI at its core. Knight Rider in particular would really fit that bill. But then you throw in the nostalgic excitement of bringing back Airwolf and the $6 billion man as well. That could really give them a franchise that they could build off. A bit of nostalgia is very popular at the moment. The other thing that my source said to me was, look, Picard Season 3 was a nostalgia fest. It was fan service in the extreme, and people loved it. The studios noticed we're going to be getting a lot more of that in the future until we get sick of it, and then we hate it, and then we wish they hadn't done it in the first place. But hey, for the meantime, we might get Knight Rider back, which I think would be okay. So, a storyline with AI at its core, a talking car, a very advanced, I imagine is going to end up being a talking helicopter. Yeah. And the $6 billion man, which I think would epitomize that because he is man and machine. It could be a little bit like the remake of RoboCop, you know, the one a little while ago with Michael Keaton that was terrible. The whole premise of that story was that RoboCop had been turned into a cyborg, but actually the computer was faster than him. So what he didn't realize was the computer was actually taken over when he sort of went into kill mode. I actually think that could be something interesting, done better than the RoboCop version, because the RoboCop is a terrible movie. Would be something interesting for the bionic man, that where is the man and where is the machine, and where is the are the lines between the two blurred? I actually think that would be a very interesting metaphor for sort of culture and society today, where technology has become so intrinsic in our day-to-day lives that really sometimes you have to wonder, where do I end and my phone start? I'm not 100% certain sometimes, particularly my teenage sons, who actually I think are fused to their phones. I mean, literally. So I actually think this is a really interesting idea, but what do you think? Get into the comments. Would you love to see these shows come back? And if the studios really are looking for an AI-based franchise, does this sort of thing make sense to you? Get into the comments and tell me exactly what you think. If you are new to the channel, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. It really helps us out and you'll never miss any of our new videos. Also, you can go to patreon.com/SciTrek, where most of our new videos premiere first and you get to see them without the adverts. Finally, you can go to scitrek.co.uk, which is our dedicated website where we do articles based on a lot of our videos and we try to add a little bit more detail for you to digest. Go check it out. As always, please stay safe and I'll see you next time.